In this video, I'm going to explain why the 2.6 Hog Cycle deck always works and why it's the only deck that will always work. In fact, I asked 2 professional players and they gave me 3 major reasons why it's true and even professional advice on how to master the deck that I will share at the end of this video. And we will cover way more in just 5 minutes. So first, the 2.6 Hog Cycle has been the most popular deck in Clash Royale for many years, but almost everyone hates it. And if you're one of the people that hate it, I want you to listen to this next part very carefully. The 2.6 Hog Cycle is so popular because of its versatility and can be used to beat any deck by playing the cards the same way every time. Don't believe me? Well, have you heard of this guy before? Most players in Clash Royale can agree that they recognize Yoshi as the best 2.6 Hog Cycle player. In fact, I'd even know about the deck until I saw his videos. And here's the key, his videos did very well because people were surprised that he was able to beat any deck with just the 2.6 Hog Cycle. This is what makes it different from every other deck and makes it stand out, because no matter what, usually every deck has multiple counters. Actually, most decks can be countered with Lumberloon because air defense isn't really that common, you know? But it's impossible to find a counter to the 2.6 Hog Cycle because it doesn't even have one. The next reason is that the 2.6 Hog Cycle cannot be nerfed. We know that the decks and the cards that people use are based on the meta, and we all know about the meta, but you might be wondering how it relates to the 2.6 Hog Cycle. Well, the whole reason for the meta is the balance changes, right? Cards that are weaker fall off, and cards that become stronger can start to appear in everyone's decks, like the Mother Witch. But because of how the 2.6 Hog Cycle works, the deck is unable to be nerfed, and this is extremely important. You might seem unsure to believe me or not, but we can actually prove this to be true. In order to prove it, we have to break down the deck and focus on every card individually. Take the Hog Rider for example. The Hog Rider is key because it's the only win condition in the deck. The whole point is that it's so fast your opponents will not be able to stop it before it hits the tower at least once. It's important to note that the Hog Rider has never had a speed change since it was released in 2016. Also, we have no signs that it will happen anytime in the future either, and we can apply the same logic to every other card in the deck by seeing what role it plays and if balance changes are able to make the card's role weaker. This is also the most important thing to finding the best deck. Let's say you don't like or play the 2.6 Hog Cycle, but you want to know what cards to level up, or you want to know the best deck to use that is also fun to play. The best thing to do is look for cards that play a specific role in a deck that cannot be nerfed by balance changes, just like the Hog Rider from the 2.6 Hog Cycle. I know for a fact that if you follow this method, you will be able to create really good decks that can stand at a professional level. But personally, I recommend that you start using and upgrading the 2.6 Hog Cycle instead. The third reason that the 2.6 Hog Cycle always works is because it has the perfect card synergy. Now, what I'm about to say next is really crazy, but stay with me. There are over 40,000 possible card combinations for any deck. So when I say that the 2.6 Hog Cycle always works, it really does always work, and it's the only one that does. There is at least one combination in the 2.6 Hog Cycle that can beat any deck because the cards simply work so well together. This is what I mean by perfect card synergy, and the truth is that if you replace even one card from this deck, it will be way less effective, which is why I haven't mentioned any alternatives. The truth is that the 2.6 Hog Cycle is the closest thing to a perfect deck, and how are you going to make a perfect deck more perfect? By adding the Earthquake spell and the Firecracker, for example. I'm talking about the 2.9 Hog EQ cycle. This deck does not always work because the Earthquake spell and the Firecracker can and will be nerfed, making the deck a lot worse. So in my opinion, it's best to just stick to the original deck. Thanks for watching to the end of this video, and I will now reveal the game-breaking advice on how to master the 2.6 Hog Cycle. I asked 2 professional players what's the biggest mistake they see players make while using the 2.6 Hog Cycle. They told me that it's all about the placements, which makes them counter wrong and they end up losing or almost losing. So knowing that, I want you to look at videos like these to learn the placements and counters, and you will end up winning so much more, and you will have a chance to get to the highest level if you follow everything in this video. Make sure to subscribe. Thanks again, and clash on.